Hi and welcome to the Hidden Div. In today's video we're going to be revisiting the website header, and we're going to be talking about how to add a burger menu for mobile and tablet. So to begin with, what we're going to do is we're going to click the add element and we're going to look at adding an icon. So what I want to do is I want to add this alongside, it's not going to let us add it, let's just click it there. So we're going to add this alongside the WordPress menu. At the moment, because we've got the container set to, space between, it's kind of aligning these a little bit different to how we want them. Because we're going to hide these on different viewports, it doesn't really matter, but we'll just leave this for now, as it shouldn't affect the design. But we'll revisit it if it does. So what we'll do is, at the minute, we'll go to the icon, select advanced, and I want to align self with center to line this up with the rest of the content. So we're going to go back to the content tab, and we're going to change the icon. We can type in bars to give that burger menu look, and we're also just going to reduce the size of this slightly because it's a bit big at the moment. I'm going to change the primary color of this to white. If we then click the advanced tab, I want to add a little bit of padding to this. I think 10 pixels might be a little bit too much. As you can see, there's already a little bit of padding on the bottom of this, so what we're going to do is reduce that slightly to line it up. I think 6 should probably be enough. That's kind of looking like it's nice and squared off now. We're then going to select the style tab and, back to the advanced tab, and we're going to look at background, add a color, and we're also going to set this as white, but we're going to reduce the opacity down a little bit, and this just gives that nice little kind of, background effect with like a transparent color. This is kind of all been squared off at the moment, but I think that it might be nice with a little bit of a curved corner on it, so we're going to select border, and we're going to change the border radius to 5, just to give it a little bit of a rounded edge so it's not quite as harsh. So that's still a little bit larger, I think, so we're going to come down in size even a little bit more, and we'll select that as 26, and we're just going to publish that. So at this point, once the template is published, if I go to the front end of the site, you can see that it's not quite showing correctly. Both menus are showing, and this one's center aligned, which is not what we want. So what we now need to do is we need to change the media queries for the site so that essentially this shows on only mobile and tablet, and the menu that we see in the middle here shows on desktop only. So if we go back to our template, what we can do is, first of all, select the WordPress menu and go to the advanced tab. Down the bottom you will see something called responsive, and this controls our media queries. So at the minute all 3 of these are ticked as show, but what we can do is click on the little button here for both tablet and mobile, and that will hide this particular menu on both them screen sizes, which are set up here. So the tablet is up to 1024 pixels and mobile is up to 767 pixels to give you what your viewport will be for that. So what I then do is go and do the same for the icon, select the advanced tab, go down to responsive, and we want to hide this for desktop only. So I'll now click publish, and we'll go back to the front end and click refresh. And as you can see, this is now showing just the version for the desktop, which is correct, that's what we want, and the mobile version is hidden, which is great. So we can actually test this out to see if it's working. So if we right click and go inspect, this kind of brings up the console for our web page. On the left hand side here you can see kind of an icon for a desktop and a laptop and a mobile. This shows us our responsive view, which you can see here, and at the top of the page we can select our screen size. So let's say iPhone 14 Pro Max, and you can now see how that would show. So at the minute you can actually see that it's pulling in the menu correctly, but you know, it's pulling over to the next line, so there's definitely something that needs tweaked there. So we can go on and make some adjustments for that. So if we go back to our template and select, you know, the tablet, I think that all probably looks okay. That's probably going to work quite well. If we go down to mobile, you can see this is obviously the issue with the heading here. Either this needs to be smaller or it needs to be hidden as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the text and we're going to go advanced, and then we're going to go responsive, and we're just going to hide this for mobile and click publish. So at this point we can go back to this page again and just leave it as it is with the console open and click refresh. And as you can see, that's now removed the text, but it's still on another line, so there's something that we need to have a little look at here. So once again we'll go back to our header template, and I think I know what this is. It's actually the container that holds these two elements. What normally happens is when you set the custom size, which I've done here with the pencil, as you go down to mobile, so at desktop it automatically sets as fit content. Sorry, I've selected it to be fit content, but when you go down in screen size, specifically to mobile, it resets this to 100. So what I can now do is just type in fit content again, so it applies the same effect to mobile, and then click publish. And now when I go to the front end, I'm expecting this to fix whatever was wrong, and yeah, you can see now that you've got the logo on the left and the burger menu on the right, and they're both aligned on the same level as should be. So that's worked. So now one of the main problems is so we've got the icon, but it doesn't link to anything, it doesn't do anything. So what we need to do is now create a pop for this so that you can create your pop-up burger menu. So what we'll do is we'll go back to our header, and we're going to click on the Elementor logo on the top left, and then hold Control and click exit to WordPress. Okay, so this is now opened up a new tab, and we are going to go to Elementor, Editor, and to Templates. So in here we need to add a new template, and from the drop down we're going to select Popup, and we're just going to name this mobile menu and click create template. So same again, this is obviously going to give you some ideas of templates that you can select from, but we're going to create our own. So I'm going to click off that, and I'm going to click the plus menu and go flexbox and select the first option. I'm going to select this as full width, and what I'm actually going to do is change some of the pop-up settings themselves. So at the moment this has got a set width, but what I want to do is, because this will only be activated on mobile or on tablet, so I'm actually going to set this to full width. So I'm going to go to the full width here and go set it to 100. And same again, if we go back to the container here, we can do the same with this with minimum height, and select this as 100, and this will take up the full size of the page, as you can see. Similar to some of the templates, I'm just going to kind of use a dark grey background. What you can do with the colours is you can actually click create new global colour, which I'm going to do now, because obviously you want these to all be the same. So I can now select this as a template colour, so I can select the exact colour every time that I choose to use this. And so what I'm going to do here is click add element, and I'm going to go back to the WordPress menu that I used earlier for the header, but this will now be being used in the mobile menu as well. They're both going to show the same thing, just one for desktop and one for mobile menu. So what you can actually do is select the layout of the menu, which at the minute is horizontal, which we don't really want for a mobile menu. We're going to select this to vertical. As you can see, it's kind of doing more of a drop down version here, which is what we want. We can center this off, and also the container will center this as well, both horizontally and vertically, so this can just sit in the middle. Same as before, if we click on the WordPress menu and we can go to the pointer, and I'm just going to disable that as well. I like quite straightforward design sometimes. I think some of the pointers can be a bit overkill. They do have a purpose and they can look nice, but for this example, I'm just going to remove it. I'm going to go same again with the white text, maybe like a slight transparency to it, and then add a hover effect of just standard white to add this little hover effect that we've got here. So at the moment this is all pretty straightforward. It's a nice simple menu. We can add a few other things to this. You could maybe even add a heading if you wanted to. You might want to add a little heading above it and just say main menu, for example, just to kind of stylize it a little bit and add a few more elements to it so it doesn't look as plain. Another thing you can do is perhaps add some social media icons. So you might decide that you want a few social media icons to be in there so that people are prompted to visit your social media accounts. There's a few different versions you can do for this. So what I will do is I will have Facebook. I'm going to replace Twitter with Instagram. So I'll select this version of the logo. I'm actually going to change the Facebook logo as well, because at the moment it's got the logo with the circular background, but there's actually a second one. So I type in Facebook, and what will happen is if you stay in recommended, it'll only show you one option. Sorry, but if you click all icons, you get the second option of just the F by itself, which looks a lot cleaner if you're trying to add your own background. So what I can now do is begin to stylize it, change the shape from rounded to circle, and I can even go to the style tab here and give either their official icon colors, which they've got here, or I can select custom. And let's say, for example, we go with this white color. We'll do the sort of transparent background again, and in here we can also edit anything we want from the size of the icons. We can make them smaller, bigger. We can change the pattern, give them more or less pattern, and we can then do a few other things. So you can change the row gap, which won't affect it on this one because they're only sat in columns, they're on sat in rows at the minute, but you can kind of, you know, adjust the spacing between them as well, which we've done there. For this example, I think this will probably do for now. They've all kind of got the same space between them as well from the container. I might go actually and remove the container gap, put that as 0. I'll give the main menu a 20 pixel spacing, but I will go to the social icons and I'll give them a little bit more, maybe give them 50 just to kind of move them a bit further down. Like I say, we can add other things in here. You might want to add some, you know, an email address or a phone number if you want to prompt people to get in touch with you. There's a few different things we can add here, but for now we'll just keep it quite straightforward, keep it pretty clean. A few things that we will add before we go is we're going to go to the pop-up settings, and you can add entrance and exit animations, which these look quite nice. So because my pop-up menu is going to be, my burger menu, sorry, is going to be on the right hand side, what I will do is I'm going to add in a slide in right animation, and I'm going to put a slide out right animation. So when you click this, the menu will slide across and come out from the right side of the screen. I will just check some of these other settings. Yep, they are fine. If I go to style as well, one thing that we do want to do, so because we've got a darker background, you'll notice there should actually be an exit button up here, which you can't see. A close button, I should say. I will just go to the settings here, and I'm going to go and change the close button and make it white so you can actually see it now, because it was also like a dark grey / black colour. It's also a little bit small, so I will use the size tab here and just make this a little bit bigger so you can quite clearly see it. We could also, if we wanted to style it similar to the other version, we could also add the background colour on there, but we'll just leave that for now, and we'll just remove the background colour because I think this is quite simple and probably all we need for now. So I'm going to publish this. I'm going to add condition, and because this is part of the header section, which is going to be on the entire site, we're going to leave this as entire site for now, and then click next, next again, and save and close. Right, so now we need to go back to our header for the next part. Okay, so now that we've got our mobile menu created, what we now need to do is we need to link it to the icon within our site header. So what we need to do is go to the structure tab and select icon. In the content tabs for this, you'll see link at the bottom, and if you click the little stack icon on the right, you'll see dynamic tags, and in here you can actually scroll down and select Popup. Once you do that, you need to click it again, and inside it'll have action, which you just leave as open pop-up, and then you then just select this box at the bottom and type in, so whatever you named it. So mine was mobile menu, yeah. So select mobile menu, and that's now linked up, so you can click publish. So once that's done, if we go back to our website page and hit refresh, you see this is still on the mobile view, and if we click the icon here, it will open up our menu. I've just noticed as well that this is actually, I forgot to remove the menu break from that WordPress menu, so we'll go back in and edit that now. So if we go back to the mobile menu and select WordPress menu, and in here it's got the breakpoint, and as you can see that's still set as tablet portrait, so we'll just select none for that, click publish, and we'll go back to this and click refresh again, and there you can see this mobile menu is now working. Because this is on desktop and it's kind of viewing it in a, you know, through the element, it does move around a bit, but when you're on mobile it will actually be smooth and open how it's meant to. That little jump up that it's doing is just because it's being loaded on the desktop version, but that will work fine. But if you do have any issues, drop that in the comment and I can look through the fixes for that and show you how to do it. But that's everything for the tutorial today, and thanks for watching.